Yeah, world travelers, this is Judgmentalist here, taking you around the world. And today we got something a little special for you. We are getting ourselves back into the Vegas entertainment scene. We have a special guest here today. Not only Big Sexy is with us as always, but a couple weeks ago we talked about Mad Apple, and now we have with us here the man from the show, Mr. Harrison Greenbaum.
The one, the only Harrison Greenbaum. What's up, my man?
Hey, thank you. I want that on the poster. The man from the show.
Yes, that's it. The man from Harrison Greenbaum, the man from the show.
That's going on the website.
That's right. That's right. It's in your bio. That's in your bio now. How you doing, good sir? Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here, and coming to you live from Las Vegas.
I love it. I love it. Now you've made the circuit. You've made the round with the Scoops Who Have podcast. I think the only one left for you now is Hey Buddy Nice podcast, and I'm sure Brogan and Wayne would love to have you on at some point in time. But today, you're with us at Big Sexy Digital Nomad. So again, welcome, sir.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So I have this is going to be a little different than all the different ones you've done before, because everyone talks about, how'd you get into performing, and tell us your story and tell us about, Magic Camp and all that kind of stuff. But
you guys are like age, height, weight. What was the old AIM
ASL,
thing?
ASL, age, sex, location.
Age, sex, location. There we go.
Sex, location. Oh, damn. ASL. Fuck. That took me back. Back in the AOL chat room days.
It was all, you were talking to creepy men the whole time. That's what we found out later on.
They lied. ASL, they lied. Yeah, everybody was 22 male or 22 female Los Angeles. No, you're not.
Man, I don't know if I've told you about this, Big Sexy, but back in that time,
you were my 22 lady Los Angeles. It was you the whole time.
Me the whole time.
late. I guess it was late 90s, early 2000s. I somehow got linked up as basically an affiliate for some phone sex line, and basically they gave me some phone number, and I think it was like a Caribbean exchange or something like that, right? And if people called it and my specific number, I had nothing to do with the calls on the other end. It basically, if it went through that call, I got credit for it. They were charged like $3.99 a minute, and I'd make like $2 a minute. So I would go into chat rooms. I would pretend to be, whatever I needed to pretend to be. And then when it was time, hey, we should talk offline. Here's my number. Boom. And then I would ghost. And it was back in the dial-up days. Wow. So I could get out of the chat room being like, hey, give me 5 minutes. Here's the number. I got to log off so I can open up the phone line. Like I made it look all legit and everything. And then I would dip out.
No, you have definitely not shared your porn phone days when you used to make money on the side. We need to get you on the side hustle to talk about your porn phone days.
I could probably get in trouble for that. I don't know. The statute of limitations, I'm sure, have long since expired.
Yeah. This is amazing. I think we've been on the podcast for 3 minutes, and you've already admitted to a crime.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. We did. Well, this is like episode 19 or 20. Like, we learn something new every fucking week.
That's right. That's right.
But Harrison, so what I wanted to have you on and chat about is actually your experience coming from New York to Vegas. Right. And that travel experience, right? How that, I love the story behind us. We definitely want to hear that, but also the little shit, right? What flight you took, how, where'd you end up staying? How was like, what'd you end up packing? Like that kind of, travel madness around coming out to visit. And then suddenly this is now where you are.
Yeah. Well, I try to subscribe in my travels, but Seinfeld had a quote, which was eat right, pack light, work tight, which is not a bad mantra. And I tend to do this thing where I pack really well and tight. Like it's efficient and it fits in a carry-on. And then the last 5 minutes before my flight, I squeeze everything I can into it. Like, but what if I need this? It's like that scene in The Jerk where he just keeps grabbing objects.
Right.
Well, I need my lamp. It's
in
me
the
on the
chair.
way out to like JFK. But what if I need to do this magic trick? All right, shove that in the bag. With this thing, I got a call. I actually just traveled in. I was in one of the Carolinas. I was in Charleston, doing a really fun gig actually. It was an outdoor gig. That was on like a Friday, so I'd flown back Saturday morning. Or no, sorry, it would have been. It was already dark when I got back, so I must have flown out, and then by the time I landed, it was dark.
Right.
I'm crossing the bridge, and I get a call saying, "Hey, we are going into our first live shows with an audience for Mad Apple. It's this new Cirque du Soleil show thing. We need a comedian to fill in for one day. Can you be on a plane tomorrow? We can get you a flight for 7 a.m. and you'll be in the show by 7 p.m." So I basically had to unpack everything, switch out dirty underwear for clean underwear. And just, so it was really, that was actually an easy pack because it was just substituting everything in there for the other thing. And then grabbing my
jaws in,
exactly
out, socks in. Nice.
That was the whole process. And then for my magic act, I can fit pretty much my whole 90-minute show in a carry-on.
Okay.
Which is sort of the benefit of having a lot of stand-up comedy in the act, is that
right.
It plays big. So I basically grabbed my magic suitcase. I think I actually oh no, I don't think I checked a bag. No, I think I did that one, and I think that was all carry-on.
Two carry-on.
I try, if I can not check a bag, that's my preference, especially with my magic act. If you give me a choice, I will check my clothing over my magic act.
Right. Yeah.
Because I need the magic act to get there. Yeah, I can buy new clothing. The act is a lot more. It's a lot harder to replace.
Right.
So I get to Las Vegas. They put me up in New York. One day turned into 2 days. 2 days turned into a week. The week turned into a full length contract.
Now, do they keep like do they keep saying like, okay, hey, we're renewing your flight's now going to be this? And
originally they were like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll buy you a flight back." And I was like, "Okay, when is that flight?" So after I did the show on Sunday, I was like, "So my flight's what, Tuesday or was it Wednesday? When is the flight?" And they said, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And then they were like, "Hey, do you mind? We're going to do a show on Tuesday. We'll get you a flight Wednesday." And I said, "Okay." And then on Wednesday, they're like, "Hey, we'll get you a flight Thursday." And then all of a sudden, it just kept getting pushed. And then by Saturday, I was like, okay, Saturday is your last live show. Then you have 4 days of just rehearsals before you're back doing live shows again.
Right.
So if you need me in the show, I need to go back to New York. I need to go back to New York because I only packed like 3 pairs of underwears because I was trying to be as efficient as possible.
Right. And you thought you were going to be here one day, right?
And I thought I was going to be there for a day. I was like almost basically overpacked with 3 underwear. Right. So I had them book me. The last show of that like week-long run was a Saturday. And that show, we only did one show that night. So I was able to get a red-eye flight. So I literally went straight from the show to the airport.
Oh, Jesus.
So I landed the next morning, like Sunday morning. My parents picked me up on the way to visit my family. We had a scheduled family thing on Sunday anyway.
Oh, wait. So let me get this straight. So you left the show.
Yeah.
In Vegas.
Yes. Saturday night.
The airport. Then from the airport, then you fly all the way to New York.
Yep. Land in JFK.
The parents
which is like 15 minutes from my parents.
Airport. Yeah. And take you to a family event.
In New Rochelle, which is in Westchester. Yeah.
Do you at least get a chance? Do you sleep? Are you a plane sleeper? Can you sleep on a flight?
I usually can. I'm somehow getting worse at it. I used to be like out immediately. So a red-eye flight is fine, especially to New York. Like the time difference, coming here is great. Coming from New York to Las Vegas is ostensibly 3 hours. It's not a big deal. You could leave at 9 a.m., be here at noon.
Right.
It's the other way that's rough. If you leave at 9 a.m., you're missing the whole day. So I almost prefer doing a red-eye the night before, so I hit the ground running. I'm there in the morning.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah. Which is actually a similar thing when I taped Sherry, which is a daytime talk show, about a month ago. and they wanted to tape it on a Thursday. We're off Wednesdays, Thursdays. So I said, find me a red eye flight on Tuesday. So I did all the shows, brought all my stuff to the theater. I actually Ubered to the theater, so I didn't have my car stuck in the New York parking garage for multiple days. Right. And I took a 1 a.m. indirect flight Tuesday night, so I could land in New York around like noonish.
How often have you made that trip back and forth from Vegas to New York since that initial?
Only twice. I'd like to do it more. The thing that scares me is obviously like I try to fly back Thursday night, so that give me that little flexibility. The fear is that, I never want to be stuck in New York and then Friday's coming and I don't know how to get back.
Right.
So that keeps me up at night a little bit.
Right. Especially with the way air travel has been recently. Now you were a touring comic, correct? Like when you
yeah. I mean 2, 3, 4 planes a week for sure.
Oh,
and this thing was weird because it's one thing to move to Las Vegas, but you were asking which hotels and stuff. I moved into the New York because I only had 12 hours notice essentially. So I didn't have a place in Las Vegas. I didn't even know what neighborhoods there were. I very quickly found out that Henderson and Summerlin are sharks and jets. And anybody in Henderson will tell you Summerlin sucks. And anybody in Summerlin will tell you Henderson sucks. And so you can't get a straight answer. Turns out they're both very nice. That's the reality. I know it's controversial to say, but there are 2 places that are nice, at least.
And there are several places that are not. So I'm glad you didn't end up.
That's true. That's true.
North Las Vegas or East Las Vegas, which are not as nice as either Henderson or Summerlin. I would say if it's a place in Vegas that sounds like it could be a city somewhere else in the world, it's probably a nice spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Summerlin and Henderson both just sound nice. They sound pleasant.
They sound nice, sound wonderful, right? But like Paradise, that doesn't sound real. and it's not. And it's not. Right. People who live in Paradise, like, I'm sorry, y'all not real. You live in Vegas and it shows. But
so I moved into the New York for about a month and a half. So I went from living in New York to living in New York. Still doing a show. It's like being Mexican and then moving into the Mexico Pavilion in Epcot. It's bizarre. You're moving into the simulation of a hologram. It's insane. It makes your brain can't even process it because you're still in New York, kind of.
Right. Now, during that month, did you get a chance to venture out and look around and like were you scouting places to live? Were you you enjoy the fact that you were in a casino for a month and a half and own that?
No. I knew I had limited time to be in that hotel and that I needed to find a place. So it was any free time that I had, I was taking Ubers to just random. There was one house that I saw. Is this interesting to listeners? I hope this is the topic that you want me to talk about.
This is the kind of shit our listeners are listening. They're listening for travel shit, and
Okay, good.
Because again, we our listeners. This is the travel comedy podcast, right? So we talk about it's about digital nomading and moving around and travel hacks and stuff like that. So this is the kind of shit I hope our listeners love. They don't tell us yet. But we'll hear about it if it's not. So I won't tell you.
But so I saw as many houses as possible. And my favorite house. So I was with this guy and I didn't have a car at this point. Which it turns out is very important in Las Vegas if you're trying to get around. You can definitely Uber everywhere, but a car does make things slightly easier. So maybe if I did this again, I probably would have maybe started with a car and then just driven to all the places. But there was a very nice real estate broker. I met him at the first house. And then I said, there's this other house on the list. If it's open, we might as well do a 2-for-1. And he said, okay, I'll call ahead. I'll find out. So he calls ahead. I must have gotten confused. I thought it was the address of the other house that I had already looked at online. I get there, and I think the mat said something like, civilians tolerated, whores encouraged, was the mat. Something along the line like that.
Mat. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like sex positive, and I appreciate all this stuff, but it was a lot for a showing. And felt like not necessarily how I would have staged a house.
Right.
If I was trying to get it rented or sold.
Did
to
it
show
have
that
one of
y'all
those
that you
"Welcome to
really
Pound Town" signs over the bed?
Oh, we're
yeah.
getting to it. And
Oh, good.
oh, you've been to this house? Is this your house? Did I
Oh,
show you?
It's usually
you
used
bought
as like a
Mary's
group
house.
setting. We all meet there. Nobody exchanges names. The keys go in the bowl. It's one of those places, you know?
Yeah. So that we ring the doorbell and we just hear a lady go, sorry, coming, coming. And then after like 5 minutes, she opens the door. She's not really fully dressed. We're like, do you want it? We're okay. And
Blue
she
silk
goes,
robe.
I'm so sorry. I'm coming down. I took a lot of Molly yesterday. I'm still coming down. Okay.
Wow.
Interesting way to present yourself at this showing.
Was this house in paradise?
I don't even remember where it was, to be perfectly honest. I'm probably sure I blacked out part of it.
I'm sure.
But then we walked around the house. There was a lot of dog shit literally everywhere.
Oh,
But there's also
In the
stripper
house?
poles inside the house,
Oh, wow.
and then a stripper pole outside the house, which seems remarkable because it was metal and it's very hot in Las Vegas. I
right.
don't know if a stripper could really use that pole effectively without hurting him,
Twice
Because you're
her,
talking time
themselves.
frame wise, you're talking about like June, July, right? Like the
Yeah.
hottest. Right.
The hottest. Why is there a metal pole outside? No one should be swinging from that. It was bizarre. I mean, I think it was like an OnlyFans house. Each bedroom had like sort of decorations and whiteboards with tallies. And God bless them. God bless them. But it was just this weird thing where it's like, I don't think they knew this house was being but like they acted very like, oh yeah, we're moving to a bigger house, like we've been very successful. And I was
Oh
like,
wow.
I mean, but if you want to get the house rented, maybe I don't know. It didn't feel like the best presentation.
Or they're looking for certain clientele. Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe they're not looking for just renters. They want business as well. Hey, you can rent here, and if you have a side hustle, you can go ahead and film in this room over here. This is our safari room. This is our dungeon.
Exactly.
That's the selling point.
I was tempted. I was very tempted. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. If it wasn't, the house was not like the right. But man, that would have been
Feng
great.
shui was off.
Yeah, but man, that would have been. I would have loved to have a safari room. Are you kidding me? That's my dream. I want to have a couple of rooms in my future house that when you open the door, it's just Narnia.
Yes, all the tropical plants. Like the temperature is set at a different than all the rest of the house.
You're like, there's just a beach. Why is there just a beach in one of the rooms?
And where's the music coming from?
There's a tortoise, an actual tortoise. This is what I dream about.
Yes. Yeah, I was listening, and when we did ICS, when we were in ICS together, and I was hearing the tales, and they talked about, and they're rehashing or whatever. I was thinking, oh well, that struck me. He came from New York, and of all places to land in, New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, did the folks, the powers that be, did they hire you because you were a New York comic, so you can add more authenticity to Matt Apple, or was it just like you knew somebody and they knew you and it happened that way, or did the fact that you're from New York kind of play into that aspect at all?
I think it definitely did. I mean, the show is a New York themed show, and the idea is to give this sort of experience of like this wild night out in New York City. And they've always thought we really want there to be the stand-up comedy component, because that's what if you're running around New York City, you might end up in a comedy club, and it's known for its comedy, and it's also known for a distinct style of comedy. So when they hired me, I think one of the reasons they kept me is they saw I came on stage and I can't help but be very New Yorky.
Right. It's in your blood.
Jewy.
And Jewy, which is also very New York.
Also very New Yorky.
Very New Yorky. Yeah,
it's like your human bagel. So I think that's definitely part of it, and also, the show is a Cirque du Soleil show, but they had acquired a company called The Works. This was I think they acquired them in 2019, but they're the company responsible for The Illusionists.
Okay.
And I'd worked with The Works before on The Illusionists. I did a show called The Unbelievables. So they were familiar with my
We're
work.
familiar. Got it.
So that definitely, I mean, when they were thinking about comedians and stuff, I think I was top of mind because they had already, seen what I've done.
Excellent, wonderful. Now, when you were traveling, when you were touring as a comedian and stuff like that, like, um, when are there any travel, like, do you have you garnered any travel hacks over the year? You already said you pack light and tight, but like, do you do the quick check in, whatever that shit's called, and uh, do you try to fly first class? Like, what are your travel
The
habits, if
travel
you will?
hacks. So the one thing that a comic told me, maybe too late. I think it's something you start from the very beginning of your career, which is you pick one airline. It probably varies based on where you're based out of.
Right.
But I'm a Delta boy. Um, you pick one airline and you stick with it so that you get all your points in one
That's
place
the
and you
point.
can get status. And that makes a big difference. At the very beginning, I took whatever flight was cheapest because that was all I could afford. And so your points get scattered and it's hard to earn status on any airline. So like getting that kind of medallion status or whatever the program is with the airline that you choose, that's a big thing. And then, maybe it's a little bit more expensive sometimes, but you're going to get much better treatment. The points are all going in the same place.
Right.
Signing up for credit cards. If you're going to sign up for a credit card, one that works well with that airline that you've chosen, that's always good. So that's super, super helpful. Travel hack wise, I love having my little tech bag. I like having little bags. I have like my toiletry bag and it has a little hook on it. And so I can hang it when I get there. So I don't
Okay.
have to pack and repack it. You can just hang up, boom, everything's there. Toothbrush, comb, all the stuff. And then I zip it
Nice.
up and go. So like I love good travel gear. That's really, really helpful to me. Apple AirTags. This is a new travel thing. I love the Apple AirTags. I stick them in everything.
What is that?
They're the
Is that
best.
like a tile type so you don't lose your
So
luggage?
I used to have Tile. Tile was okay. Tile was fine. The beauty of Apple AirTag is it's in the Apple ecosystem. And so, God forbid you lose something, it's pinging off of every iPhone around it. And there's a lot more iPhones in the wild and Mac products than there are Tiles or people that have iPhones that are signed up for the Tile service.
Right.
So the pinging is a lot more effective. You could stick that thing. There's times where I've stuck that thing in my suitcase and then I just track it, make sure it's got it on the plane. I know somebody who was tracking it and they didn't see it get on the plane. So they told a stewardess and they were like, oh shit. And they managed to save themselves from a bag not coming with them.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
wow.
So it is very useful to have. It's also cool because you can track it and you see when it's if you do have to check a bag, you kind of know when it's about to come out because you see it get closer, 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 closer. So you basically have like an automatic alarm. So you're not just waiting and looking at every bag going, is that my bag? Is that my bag?
Oh,
You've literally sold
fascinating.
this to me.
Yeah, you can get them as like a 3-pack. It's great. My mom also bought me. My parents bought me these like metal luggage tags that are just like red metal tags that have a big H on them. And I put that on my suitcases because most of my suitcases are black, and most people's suitcases are black.
Right.
So putting something to identify your suitcase is a no brainer. Anytime I see a bag that just goes by with like no tags, and I'm like, how do you know that that's your Samsonite?
Right.
Like, put the wilder the better. Honestly, my dad used to put like a rainbow strap around his bag, like just whatever you can to like
Yeah,
make sure your bag stands out is so helpful.
yeah, part of our swag is our digital big sexy digital nomad luggage tags.
There we go.
So that folks can throw the luggage tag on it. It's there. You can recognize it. But yeah, I've always been a fan of wrapping something colorful around the handle, something that's unique to you, so you can
Yes,
see it from a mile away and just grab it.
100%. Noise canceling headphones are a must. Like for an airplane, don't travel without those.
Right.
I have a little bag. I have like a little bag that I can put my like laptop, my joke notebook, a pencil, like all the things I kind of want in the front part of my seat, like
Mm-hmm.
in the little pocket. It all goes in one little case. So as soon as I get to my seat, I pull the whole thing out. It goes into the little packet, into the little pocket. And that's all the stuff that I need, that I could possibly need. So I'm not like rifling through a giant backpack.
Have you ever flown Spirit?
I have. I think I've flown them all.
So that was probably one of the biggest what the fuck moments when I got on Spirit is they don't have a pocket.
Oh no.
The chair in
It's like when you
front
get bulkhead sometimes, like in the first row.
is just elastic straps.
Yes.
Right? Two elastic straps on the back of the seat. I'm on. Yeah, it'll hold a piece of paper up against it, but motherfucker, I want a pocket. I
Yeah.
got
What's
shit
up?
I gotta shove in here. I usually put my bottle in it, my snacks. I utilize that pocket. So when I got I said I can't. And then so
You
do
know,
you have a
they pulled all those Spirit planes off of the lot that films Temple of Doom, right? It's that plane every time.
yeah, every time.
Yes.
Every time. Yeah, it's that hopper. I swear I hear the Indiana Jones music every time I fly that.
It's the plane from Waterworld, the Universal show. It's the one that has been lit on fire 40,000 times. And they go, you
Yes.
know what? We can't use it anymore. We need a new stunt plane. Give it to Spirit. They'll
They'll
take
paint
That's
it
right.
yellow and call it good.
it.
Exactly. Exactly. As you're traveling, do you also do do you stay like in the same hotel every time, or do you bounce around with different properties?
I try to be
Or at
close to
least
my venue.
when you were being a
Yeah.
tourist.
No, I always tried to be close to the venue. So that was a little bit harder. Because my dream, I like, especially if I'm doing a gig for only a few days, I like to be able to just like wake up and then go to the lobby and then walk out and then be walking distance to the venue.
Oh, got you.
That's like my dream. So if I can find a hotel that's close, that's what I'm usually going for. But most of the gigs that I do, the hotel's sort of predetermined. It is like, especially
Right.
if it's like a private event, you're usually staying in the hotel where the event is.
Right.
So it's a lot harder to be brand specific with that.
I mean, pretty sure. I mean, now you're getting to be such a big name. You'll be able to, just demand where they place you. You'll be able to put that in your writer.
Well, my dream, this is how I looked at my career. There was a period where I was taking Greyhound buses to a lot of places. And I promised myself, I said, you're going to get at least successful enough that you could tell no more Greyhounds. You won't have to take a Greyhound bus. You at least can afford to take the train. And that was honestly my first goal I just want to be able to take the train. And then the goal was like, okay, now we're just doing flights. And then I was like, ooh, one day it would be great that if you're going to hire me for a gig, it's got to be business class and then
Nice.
first class. Like, you ladder your way up.
Work your way up.
I'm not in the I only fly private. There's a handful of comedians that are that famous that they just only fly private, like Seinfeld. Like that's
Right.
crazy. Like
Right.
that would be a wonderful place to be. I am not in that place.
Right.
But yeah, I remember just making the jump from Greyhounds to trains. Greyhounds are the worst.
Right.
Because they would just cancel them or they would get lost. Like I had one time where I think it was a Funghua bus actually, but the driver got lost and we were like giving him directions like on our phone. Oh no, it was a Greyhound. It was a Greyhound.
Back up. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Where were you headed? From where?
This was so long ago. I haven't thought about this story in a really long time. I believe I was trying to get to like Connecticut, like maybe it was like New Haven or something like that. It wasn't crazy. But it was one of those ones like there was the problem in New York where you don't have a car. I started to just rent cars and that sort of helped with some of these gigs. But if you didn't want to drive there or they couldn't pick you up from a local train or bus station, you would have to take like a series of buses to get close enough that it was reasonable.
Oh.
Especially pre-Uber too. Like with Uber, right. Then if there was a 20-minute gap, you can make that with an Uber. That didn't cost $1,000. But I was taking this Greyhound from like some local area and we kept waiting for the bus. And that's the thing about Greyhound is it's like you have a ticket that says 2:00, but they'll oversell it. And we were just waiting and this one wasn't even oversold. 2:00 just comes and goes and there just is no bus.
And no bus.
And like 3:00 comes and there is no bus. And we're all freaking out and they're like, what do you want to do? Like, we don't have a bus. And you're like, yeah, but we have a ticket. Like there's zero care. So like 4:00 comes. So we're all like furious and like we're all like hours late. They finally find a driver. The driver's like, I've never done this route before. Because we notice as the bus is going, we know where the bus is supposed to go. And a few of us are like, that's not the sign for New York City. Like there's a sign that said New York City and she did not go towards it.
Oh no.
So eventually somebody in the front row literally like took their phone out and like literally navigated this bus driver to the correct location. We were lost.
Wow.
So a trip that was supposed to take, I don't know, 3 hours took 7 or 8. It's just crazy.
And you're stuck. I mean,
You're stuck.
You're just there. You're just stuck.
I was on a bus when I was in college from Boston to New York, and a wild turkey in Connecticut flew into the windshield, smashed the entire windshield. This wild turkey was embedded in the windshield.
Oh no!
And there was a little child they put in the front row. You know that front row of a bus where you can just see through the glass, and it's kind of a little special seat. They gave the child the seat. They're like, "Oh my god, he's gonna get to like drive the bus." And like it was very cute. And then this kid was traumatized for life because he saw a turkey die brutally.
Thanksgiving, he's just in tears.
Then we're on the side of the road, and they're like, "We need a new bus. We can't proceed." So we waited forever for a new bus to come. As soon as we get on the new bus, we realize this new bus doesn't have temperature control. And so we're dying in this thing. So then the bus pulls over again and they go, "We need a second bus." And Greyhound's like, "We don't have enough buses to send a third bus." So we waited another few hours to get a third bus. Until they got home.
Holy shit.
Like, that's the Greyhound experience.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I'd be like, fuck Connecticut. I'm not going.
The last bus I took was to Atlantic City because it was the fastest, easiest way to get to Atlantic City. And there's something dire about, because we did it was 2 shows, 3 nights in a row. So 6 shows. And it was me and JJ Walker.
Yeah.
Jimmy Walker, Dynamite. Really nice guy. And for the last gig, I was like, I bet I can make the last bus out. It was a public bus, but one of those buses that end in Port Authority.
Woo.
But I was like, if I can make it, I can be home tonight. Otherwise, I'm waiting for a train or whatever.
Right.
So I was at that bus station. Somebody should have warned me that bus station at like 11 or midnight is a little bit sketchy in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
You should know that because I don't know if there's a bus station at 11 or 12 o'clock at night that isn't sketchy.
Yeah, fair.
It is not. Like I've been to several bus stations myself. I used to take a bus from California to Vegas. We would do the Greyhound run. Have you seen the bus station here in Vegas?
I haven't.
You know what drops you off? It drops you off right next door to the plaza.
Oh, okay.
Downtown Vegas. Now, when you think about it, you're like, it drops you off in downtown Vegas. Every bus station at 11 or midnight or anything beyond that is sketchy AF. And there is somebody there who will stab you. I think who's just waiting for folks to come off to stab them. I think that's just his job. There's somebody there.
Does at least say "Welcome to Las Vegas" right before he does it?
Yeah. And, he'll even give you a lay for no reason. He'll give you a lay for no reason, and then stab you, and then take your beads, and give you beads, and then take them back, and take the lay back for the next person. Yeah, I was amazed. I remember the first time we did it, we were hyped because I'm going to Vegas, hopping on a bus. It'll be cool. I ain't got to drive. I ain't got to worry about it. I know normally it's, a 4.5 hour drive. I live in California. So the 4.5 hour drive, I don't got to worry about that. I can just sit back, relax, read a book, listen to music. We hit the bus station about 11:30, and I did not want to get off the bus. Within 10 minutes, there was a fight in the bus station between security and a homeless dude. And I don't mean just like a yelling match or an altercation. It got physical.
Oh boy.
It got physical. And the homeless dude threw the first blow. And instead of just being professional and responsible and, containing the issue and calling the police as you're supposed, this dude must have been a fighter.
Oh no.
Because he had been waiting for this. You can tell when somebody's aggravated and aggressive, and they've been waiting for the moment to beat somebody.
Right. Most people, when a fight starts, they're like, "Oh no!" Some people are like, "Finally."
Yes. You see the eyes say, "Yes." He proceeded to beat this homeless man's ass
There's
until
if
finally
in
he's
the movie
coming.
version of this, right as the guy throws his first punch, we see a timeline of him. He's a child playing Street Fighter. He's in high school on the wrestling team. He does boxing overseas illegally because it's the only place that will hire him.
He
He's
keeps
in the
getting kicked out
army.
of gyms over and over again.
Exactly. We see the whole story of his life. He's like, this is my time.
Yes, yeah. He finally
You see his father yelling at him, "You'll never amount to anything."
he broke. He moved to Vegas. He gets a cheap ass job as a security officer because it's the only place that'll hire him. And then fast forward, the homeless guy hits him in the face, and he goes, "I've been waiting for this moment for all my life." Yeah, he
He
proceeded.
grabs a luchador mask that he's been carrying in his back pocket and a Bluetooth speaker playing his wrestling theme song.
Oh, I got you. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So it was
Denise, come quickly. I need you to carry a sign that has the number of the rounds.
it was insane. It was insane. So that was my first introduction to the Vegas bus station, and I came from the San Bernardino bus station, which is sketchy. I've been to the Phoenix bus station. There's bus stations in the high desert. Like everywhere they go, I feel like if I really wanted it, I could just buy meth very easily. Very easily. Every bus station I've ever gone to. Not that I'm looking for meth, but if I was, I could have got it. Joe, you ever bus ride, Joe?
It's been a while. It's been like undergrad a long time. It was kind of one of those first and last sort of like, nope, we're good. We don't need to do
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
I took a Greyhound from Rochester, New York to Baltimore, and it's literally like this fucking thing stops somewhere every like 20 or 30 minutes. So even if you're trying to be like, okay, cool, it's gonna take me 8 hours to get there, but I could just sleep through half this. No, because the fucking bus is stopping every 20, 30 minutes because it's just, a chain of different stops all along, just filtering people in and out. And it's just like, ugh.
So if we learn anything on this podcast, is fuck buses.
If you need to take it, do it, but be forewarned.
Yeah.
Also, just
be
because
prepared.
the bus is called Peter Pan does not mean it's a fairy tale.
Now, local
Right.
buses, like, I lived in Chicago for 2 years, and when I worked in Baltimore and went to law school in Baltimore, I would take those buses. So not like this city, that city, but throughout the city. That's a little different. Still sketchy, but in a lot of those parts of town. But the last time I was in Chicago, I was on the L, and it was late at night because it was a flight that got delayed and delayed and delayed. So I'm taking the L from Midway, and of course there was what I imagined to be a housing impaired gentleman and somebody else that got into a physical altercation in this. Of course, eight train cars. It's got to be in the one that I'm in. It's like I just want to get the fuck where I'm going and go the fuck to sleep, and then go from there. But that was
I wonder if they refer to themselves as housing impaired.
yeah.
What do you
I
mean?
doubt it.
I'm housing impaired. Right.
Yeah. And you got to feel for them too, because it's like, instead of physically fighting them, maybe help them find a shelter.
That part, right. How about give this guy some help instead of bloodying his face? Yeah. Now I do love trains.
A train is nice. A train is
Trains are
nice.
nice.
What's the longest train ride you've ever taken?
I took me and my mom took a train ride from California to New York.
Whoa.
We did a cross country
It's
train
like the whole
ride.
thing.
How long is that?
That took 5 days, 4 days.
Wow. And do you get off ever?
It stopped in there was a stop in Vegas, and then the next stop was in Chicago, and there was like
Whoa.
a.
Do you get off in Chicago or you
Yeah,
stay
you got off
on?
in Chicago. You got off in
Okay.
Chicago. There's about a 3-hour layover, 4-hour layover, and then from Chicago to New York.
Wow.
And again, it's experience, and we did it for the aspect of it. I don't know that I would ever do that long of a train ride again, because that's a long time on a tube.
Yeah.
that's just rolling along the countryside, and the majority of the U.S. is boring as fuck to look at.
It's a lot of fields.
A lot of fields, a lot of just open spaces because that's where they put the train tracks.
Of course.
Right? They don't drive the trains through interesting scenery because you can't do it because it's a train. That's the longest train ride. Yourself?
Oh, now I sound. Mine was just 9 hours. That sounds like nothing next to 5 days. I was like, I got these guys beat 9 hours. That's a long time. Like 5 days.
Yeah.
We built in a civilization. We thought maybe we need to start over. Elected leaders. We formed a new government.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was on a loop. I thought we were just going to keep looping around the U.S.
Yeah, I thought 9 hours was a lot. I was like trying to get to just like deep Pennsylvania, and there's no way to fly there. And so I was like, I guess I'm training it.
Yeah, it was interesting, and this is back in the day. Again, before they added all the before the extra bus routes and the extra plane, there weren't that many airline options and airports and whatever. Like the train was a viable option to get places, right? It was an enjoyable, comfortable ride. You could usually count on it being there, right? You weren't at the whim of some random ass driver. So I used to take the train to like Arizona every now and then. So I love trains, and every now and then I want to do another cross country train. That's why I'm looking forward to moving to the Europe. Right?
Oh, the train's there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
As a matter of fact,
the channel is remarkable.
Yeah, she was just saying, she was like, okay, how about we're going to go from Barcelona to Malaga and spend some time in Malaga. She goes, here's how much the train ride is there. And it was like €75. Right. And she's like, the train, and then from there to Lisbon is like €30.
It's amazing.
And I'm all, what? It's not like $150 to get from one city to the next. I cannot wait. I cannot wait until we're over there and hopping on the train. Like my dream, we're talking about dreams. My dream is to be able to go to the train station and go, okay, let's roll the dice. All right, 3 pops up, third one down. All right, that's where we're going. Hop on a train and go check out a new place at random.
By the way, you mentioned Lisbon, and I realized since we're on a travel podcast, I did a travel show for YouTube and the USTA, the United States Tour Operators Association, called Recalculating, and Lisbon was one of the cities. So that was a very interesting travel experience.
What did that entail?
Traveling the world, filming a TV show.
Did you film? You flew to Lisbon and filmed in Lisbon?
Well, we flew to Istanbul, from Istanbul to Slovenia, and then Slovenia to Lisbon because we were filming in different locations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
It was great. Like? It was awesome. The cities were picked. The USTA kind of helped pick the cities because there were certain requirements. We had Slovenia, Lisbon, Vancouver, Mexico City, Philadelphia. Which one of these is not like the other? We want to do a couple of local ones for budget reasons, but also like let's get some US locations in there. Right. But yeah, it was great. Flying from Vancouver to Mexico City is really funny because we packed all of our winter stuff and then flew to Mexico City, and everyone's like, "Why do you have all that winter stuff?"
Wow, so why did you arrive in a bubble goose?
That's a really hard pack.
Right. Oh man, wow. Where do you ever? Have you been like a lot of places around the world? Like, are you really? I assume now that you really that says that you're world traveled. I'm
world traveled, but I only really travel for gigs. So like that's always the funny thing is when people go, "Oh, you must have seen every city in the U.S." and I'm like, "You mostly see the shitty ones because those are the ones that need laughter."
Right.
The really fun cities are like we already have a lot of fun.
We're good. We got it.
Good. New Orleans doesn't really have like a standing comedy club, which is interesting. We can talk about why that city has great comedians come out of it, and there's great comedy there. But there aren't like chains of comedy clubs there in the way that you go pick any other city and there's like an Improv or a Helium or a Wise
Laugh
Guys or
Factory
whatever there is,
or
a Laugh
Chucklehead or
Factory.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so you go to a lot of weird towns, which is kind of fun. Like I love weird shit. Like I love the biggest ball of yarn type shit. Like send me
Right.
to a wacky museum because it was one guy's house. Like I was in Dubuque, Iowa, and they have the funicular. It just the most vertical elevator, the most vertical funicular. And I was like, an elevator is the most vertical because it just goes up and down.
Right.
But it was like just hearing the story about the rich man who decided he was going to build basically a trolley into the side of the hill so he could just come to town and then go back to his house. Like that stuff is great.
Wow. That's insane. So assuming you made the drive out to Baker to see the world's largest thermometer.
No, but I want to.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. The drive from here to Baker is maybe about an hour.
Okay. Done.
It's in California. And there's the world's largest LED thermometer in Baker and like Baker's one of those dying Western ghost towns, right? Like the only thing holding it, the fact that it's a stop along the 15 from Vegas travelers going from California to Vegas and back. Again, it's where the Arco gas is like almost $2 more a gallon at that one spot. There's a country store there that has. They should pay me for sponsorship. There's a country store there that has like all types of candy and weird types of soda. It's the first place I ever saw bacon soda. And
Oh,
I was like, oh, that's what? Like ranch flavored soda. Like, why did that exist? What's
I've
that?
had ranch
You know,
soda,
on the
and
East
that
Coast,
might be
we
one
just
of
have
the.
Cracker Barrel with all that.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but again, and I drive by it and never realized it was that. You see it all the time, like you don't recognize monuments when they're in your backyard, right? You're like, oh no, we have this thing, and I remember watching the thing like the world's largest thermometer in Baker, California. I know Baker, California. What? Oh, oh shit, yeah, this is giant thermometer tower, like not a mercury thermometer, just like digital thermometer that,
Yeah.
so yeah, if you get a chance, go out and see that.
I love all that stuff. I love escape rooms. I'm a big escape room fan. So when I'm in
Oh,
a new city, I try to
Harrison,
do all the escape rooms.
you're speaking my language. Okay, now we have to do an escape room.
All right. How many have you done?
I've done I'm up
I
to
hope you
55.
don't beat me again.
Maybe you should go first.
40,000.
Just
I'm not
I've
here.
done 45 just to give you an example, just give you an idea, me and the wife started a YouTube channel called Black People Escape.
Okay,
Where we
great.
do non-spoiler reaction and reviews of escape rooms.
So how many have you done?
We've done 55.
Over 200,
Yeah,
baby.
good.
Yes.
You got me beat.
All right.
Yeah, we've done. As a matter of fact, last night we went to go see Freestyle Love Supreme, and while we were there, the wife was like, "Hey, I have a new task for you."
Lock the doors. The rapper said all of our songs were clues. It's up to you.
Yes, dude. Okay, you love escape rooms. Let me ask you this: when you go in a regular ass office, do you look for clues?
There's that. I forgot what there's like. I feel like there's a name for it. There's this state, like hyper state, where after doing an escape room,
It's called casing the place.
yeah, that's right. Because my like team, like my New York team, we'll do 6 rooms in a row. Like we would travel to a place and just do like 6 rooms in one day. Like let's just do them all.
Yeah, we're not.
So
there
after
yet.
you do 6 of those things in one day, just boom, boom, boom. For the next, like that night for sure, but even for a little bit later, everything is a clue. You go out to a restaurant, you're like looking at the menu. There's a typo there. I think that means something.
That means something.
You're like hyper aware.
Yeah, you know,
We should
my
buy
brain.
one so when you are doing your Blackset tour at the time that Wayne and Brogan are going to be in Vegas, and then I'm going to be there, maybe we just get like a crew together and attack one.
You don't think I already have that planned?
All right, I like it.
You'll hear it here first. I am currently in talks with Once Upon an Escape, who is their fairy tale themed escape room here in town, and I've met the owner, Kendra Dan. Shout out to Kendra
She's
Daniels.
really nice.
She's amazing. She's lovely. And I talked about renting out the whole space for a couple hours or like 3 hours and doing everybody doing each room as one final Vegas escape room experience. My task that my wife gave me is now I have to find escape rooms and everywhere we're stopping along our tour out of the country because we're doing a road trip. We're driving from California to Miami before we hop on a boat. And we're stopping in Vegas, Colorado,
Tennessee.
definitely doing Nashville.
Nashville is actually a escape room epicenter.
Is it really?
Because Nashville is the home of the Escape game, which is what there are some escape room chains. Some of them are not so good. That one's actually really, really great. They have the ones in Las Vegas.
Yes.
The ones in Nashville are basically the original ones. They're much larger. Like the playground in Nashville is the biggest playground that I know of. They also have a thing called the Ruins, which is supposed to be amazing. But like Nashville has a particularly good scene. And then there's another city right outside of Tennessee, Murfreesboro, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
Right outside of
And
Nashville.
they have some of the top escape rooms in the world also.
Hold
So
on,
like Nashville, Murfreesboro happens to be a big escape room town.
I'm taking notes.
Yes. It's the home of Middle Tennessee State University.
Oh yeah, I'm all about if I can do a gig where there's a good escape room that I can do during the day, lock me up, baby.
All right.
So right down the street from where we are in Elkton, we've got a new escape room that I have not done yet. So when you've got free time, you let me know. We'll book you in Elkton.
Heck yeah. And Once Upon Escape, the one thing that so I've done all of the rooms at Once Upon an Escape.
Okay. I've
They
done
have a 5-minute room. It's a 5-minute room. And it's maybe the most tense game that they have because it's 5 minutes. There's zero room for error.
Right.
Like when you have a 60-minute escape room, there's a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
5 minutes. If you don't solve things immediately, you're done.
Yeah.
So that was like my heart was beating so fast. I loved it. I think that actually it was very, very cool. And I don't know. It made me, and I'm pretty experienced. It made me so nervous to go into it.
That's awesome.
Like, 5 minutes.
Have you done, how many rooms in Vegas have you done?
Oh, I don't know the exact number. I've done a lot of them, but there's still more. There's still more to do.
So, have you done the adult escape rooms at Deja Vu?
No, there are adult escape rooms at Deja Vu.
There's two 18 and over escape rooms at Deja Vu. There's one. It's like a
is Deja Vu a strip club?
Yeah,
a Deja Vu is a love boutique.
Yeah, the love boutique next to the strip club. Yeah, but they have two escape rooms inside there. One's like a BDSM style escape room. The other one is like a murderous stripper themed. We got to beta test the BDSM one. It was pretty awesome. It's pretty amazing.
Oh my God. I love everything about this.
Yes. So I highly recommend that. Sadly, my favorite escape room of all time, not of all time, but one of the all time, didn't survive the pandemic.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was called Heads Up. It was at the Meadows Mall. Yeah, it was a huge. They had like a 3D art photo section. They had axe throwing. They had a bow.
Oh yeah, it's like that weird abandoned mall.
Yeah. The mall's kind of dying.
Yeah. I regret. I did one of the rooms there, and then we didn't have time. And they go, but we should show you the set. So they showed me the set of the Wild West thing.
Yes, that's
never got to do it. It kills me.
Yeah, at that time was the only 75-minute room in Vegas because it's so fucking huge and massive that you needed that much time to do it. Then they added another room called it was the inside job of the casino heist.
Ooh.
Again, for me, the thing that make a room exciting for me are puzzles that are different. Right. Like, don't give me, I understand you. Okay. You gotta give me these 4-digit numbers to find this lock. And if there's more than 5 padlocks in your escape room, I'm like, get more creative. So this place had, magnetic doors and file cabinets and a fucking laser grid that you had to crawl through to get to the item that you had to get into. I'm all like, what? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Sad I said
There was an escape room that I did that was a heist. It was maybe one of my first heist rooms. And there's a moment where it was so great because we had just started doing escape rooms, and there were these big like wire cutters, like bolt cutters, and it's
in the
chained to the
room.
floor in the
Okay,
room, and they're chained to the floor, so they only get so far.
right.
But you unlock the chain so you can get a little bit farther, and that's how you get through one of the padlocks.
Is to cut it.
Is to cut it because you're heist people.
Ah,
Like it fits
wow.
the theme so perfectly. Why are you solving locks?
Right. See, that's the
So
kind of shit I love.
we called on the radio and we're like, we're gonna do it, and they're like, do it. And we were like, this is, and every time they buy those locks in bulk,
Of course.
and it was so fun. Like that's the kind of stuff that I love. That kind of surprise where they let you do something like that, and you're like, this is
you're
really
all you said
creative.
Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna map out when we come back in April. If Dark, I'm gonna find an escape room that we can do on Wednesday, and I'll find one that you haven't done yet.
All right, great.
And we'll lock it out. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, for sure.
I've done some crazy shit. I mean, there was an escape room in New York. I don't think it exists anymore, so I probably can be a little bit spoilery about it. But they chain you in a coffin. It's only 2 people. Each one of you is chained in a coffin, and you're really chained in a coffin.
Right. Yeah, there's one here at Number One Escape. The escape room here in Vegas called Number One Escape Room, and they have a game called Claustrophobia. And it's you and a partner, and you're locked inside a box, like laying down. So something like that, I'm sure. But you're laying down. You got to work together to get out of this box. My wife won't do that with me. My wife won't do the build with me. So
I'm all about that.
I should go do Claustrophobia. I would love that. And then yeah, so we've toured. We've gone. We started doing this on my 49th birthday. So my birthday 3 years ago, 48th. Because
that means you've wasted 49 years.
Yes, because the first time I ever did an escape room, right, was from you heard about them. They're kind of getting popular. I'm like, okay, cool. They finally had a couple places here in Vegas. I was interested, but never really thought about it. And then my wife got it for my birthday, and I was immediately hooked. I knew I'd like it. I didn't know that it was going to be that addictive. So
that's the best.
We did, and another room that unfortunately didn't survive the pandemic was a room called a facility called Escape Reality, and it was on Arville, and they had I called it a great beginner escape room location because they gave you an iPad, and each puzzle was numbered, so you could scan the iPad. And it'll give you a clue to answer that puzzle. But then you can know where you were because the puzzle was numbered. The first time we went in it, we did not solve that room at all. And my wife was kind of cocky, and she did the most difficult room they ever had for our very first escape.
Oh, no.
We didn't make it halfway.
Wow.
We got 60 minutes. We spent 25 minutes in the very first room trying to figure out how to get out of this little tiny fucking room. There were 6 of us all crammed in this little tiny ass room. But then I was like, oh, I love it. Okay, I'm hooked. So we came back the next day, did a different room, just her and I, and solved it.
Yeah.
And that was it. From then on, that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do some escape room. Well, excellent, man. I knew having you on the cast was going to be fun.
Boom. Escape rooms. That's the big road hack. You don't have to do drugs. You just find an escape room.
Yeah, you just lock in a place.
And the people who run the escape rooms are really, really nice. Like I've met a lot of the owners, and they're most of them are enthusiasts. Most of them got into the business because they love escape rooms.
Right.
And that also, like, similarly, like when it comes to magic, I've found that being on the road, magicians are it's just really nice to be part of that sort of, that group. Like you show up in a city and somebody emails you and goes, hey, I heard you're in this city. Let me show you around. Or like it's been, that's one of the blessings of the magic community in particular, has
Right.
been just magicians are so kind, and I've been very fortunate, and it's so nice. Like I remember being in Florida, some guys like, I basically have a magic museum at my house. Do you want to see it? And I was like, yes.
Yes.
And it was amazing. It was incredible.
And that's
That kind of
awesome.
stuff. It's amazing.
Well, good, man. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to schedule that and get that set up as well. And maybe it was, and you know what there needs to be? There needs to be. I'm sure there has to be magician themed escape rooms.
I actually helped design.
I've done one. I did one in Seattle.
I helped design one in New York called Houdini's Workshop. I helped them come up with some of the magic-y puzzles. And then my immersive magic show, Scam, the Society of Conjurers and Magicians, Scam New York, was part magic show, part escape room. So the idea was it was an immersive experience where you're trying to be initiated into the society. And part of your initiation, where there's lots of escape room-esque puzzles and challenges.
That's
and it was for all skill levels. Like if you didn't know anything about escape rooms, you could still have fun and do stuff. If you were really, really advanced, though, there was like multiple levels of puzzles. Even when you were in the sort of waiting room, sort of,
Right.
it wasn't even announced, but there were like secret things hidden all over like the lobby that you could just solve if you notice them, and gain extra things. So we had a lot. That was so much fun, was designing just different puzzles and having them all really feel. The thing that I noticed from doing so many is the best ones are, it's not about technology necessarily. You don't have to spend the most money. Give me a good story and have the puzzles connect to the story. Let me feel like I'm the hero of the story because I'm solving these puzzles. And it can be pen and paper and I'm still into it.
Yeah. There was an escape room out here.
That's the thing that helps.
Yeah, there was an escape room out here that was like ancient Rome themed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why are you giving us walkie-talkies?
Right. That takes you out of it.
Like, these puzzles don't match. This doesn't fit the theme. Give me a good theme. Yeah, I'm a sucker for theme. If it fits the storyline, absolutely, I love it.
Yeah, although it's always funny when they're like, "This is a serial killer room, and your job is to find out who the next victim is." And I'm like, "It's me, right? It's us. It's always us,
right?
It's always us."
Yeah, we got to get out of here or we're gonna die. Right?
I did a sex themed one in New York, and it's run by Russians. And they go, I'm joking, and I go, I bet I got to put the right dildos in the right holes. And she goes, "You've done the room before."
That's great.
Awesome sauce. Yeah, we definitely have to do that. We'll schedule something. I know that, like, again, our podcast buddies are coming out in April, around that time frame. We'll get together and hang out. But well, great, Harrison, man, it's been a pleasure talking with you and chatting with you, sir. Let's do all the official stuff. Where can the people find you?
Yes, they can find me online at Harrison Comedy. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. My website's harrisongreenbaum.com, and I am currently in Mad Apple. MadAppleLV.com is where you get tickets. Come see the first Cirque du Soleil show with stand-up comedy. It's pretty exciting. So it's an honor to be headlining that show, and I would love for everybody who's listening to come check it out. It's really fun.
Thank you very much. And you know where you can find us, bigsexynomad.com, Big Sexy Nomad, all over the place. Individually, I'm Who is Big Sexy.
And I am at Psychic Ish.
Yeah, thank you, Harrison. Always a pleasure. We'll have the chat offline and set some shit up and get them things going. I tell you,
and safe travels to you and to everybody listening.
Thank you very much.
He knows the call out.
Yeah, you froze right there at the end, Joby. We got you hit.
And
then nothing.
Gotta love it.
All right, I know you got. Is the music playing? You got some. There it is. Safe travels.
Safe travels.